everybody. Good evening. I'm Richa Agarwal, CEO Imami Art and Chairperson, Kolkata Center for Creativity. All of us at Imami Art, Ushmita, me, we're super excited about this first session of Imami Art Talks. And before we start the evening, I would like to thank Arunimadi and Gautam Da for yesterday for letting us enter their homes and share their life experiences with us. They've inspired many youngsters, seniors, older people with their zeal for life. It's truly inspiring. And today I'd like to welcome Jagannath and Pranati to share their life with us. It's a beautiful picture that we have on the screen of both of them. And like we spoke yesterday, you can only inspire if you're inspired. So, Ushmita, without taking up any time, I think I'm going to ask you to take the session forward.
So I'll just read out a brief introduction and then we will move on to showing your works and talking about them. So Pranati and Jagannath were born and brought up in Odisha and now live and work from Delhi. Pranati completed her BFA at the College of Art and Craft Bhubaneswar and her master's from Delhi College of Art. She took a hiatus from her practice to focus on bringing up her son, returning to it with a recharged energy and a deeply personalized view of the world. Her recent solo show was rife with works exploring metaphors of material, issues of self-identity, balance between the inner and outer worlds, between proximity and distance, between nature and human life. Jagannath completed his bachelor's in sculpture from the BK College of Arts and Crafts and his master's from the MS University, Baroda in 1994. He has a second master's in sculpture from the Royal College of Art in 2002. In his own practice, he creates intricate works with an interesting juxtaposition of diverse materials. He says he tries to reconcile many of the contradictions in nature with our existence, thoughts, and beliefs. His works reflect the merging of realism and the abstract, supported by self-narrative. Jagannath and Pranati are also deeply involved with their foundation for contemporary arts called Utsha, which operates out of Bhubaneswar, Odisha. Utsha promotes artistic excellence and an exciting synthesis between contemporary and traditional arts. Welcome, Pranati and Jagannath. So I'll start the slide presentation and then we can look at the questions. We begin with Pranati's work. This is an image taken by Jagannath. I think this photograph was taken by Jagannath at Pranati's recent solo speaking threads at Vadera Art Gallery in Delhi. So Pranati, while we are looking at your works, I would like to ask you, if you remember when I was in Delhi earlier this year and we were conversing about, discussing motherhood and how our perspectives about life had changed due to this. And recently I was also reading art historian and cultural theorist Andrea Liss's book, Feminist Art and Maternal, which reconceives the mother and child relationship as a model for relations among races, gender, and ages, and radically reinterprets maternal traits as a vital form of social, artistic, and political address. Could you shed some light on how the complexities and diversities of mothering experiences have informed you as a person and in turn, your art?
First of all, let me thank you, Richa, and you, Smita, for inviting us for this talk. Okay. And for the lovely introduction. Thank you so much. We are very humbled. I think the moment a child is born, the mother is also born. And as you mostly know, like how motherhood is so beautiful, right? And I think for me, motherhood became a fertile ground for inspiration for my art practice. So I started my journey as an artist after I being mother. So a lot of things happened, pain and pleasure I went through. So that emptiness and completeness, so that all that emotion imbibed in me as an artist. So I started my drawing. So since 2005, because before that I studied applied art in Delhi College of Art. So I always wanted to be a designer or not definitely like contemporary artist. But sometimes life take turns, and your destiny, whatever the destiny it is, you follow your destiny, right? So it happened like that way in my life. And so being a mother, I became a totally new person as I was before that. So I see things, situation, and people very differently, very deeply. I can say that my approach was very different because so many things I have seen in 2-3 years and during in between 2004 and 2007, and both, as I said, both happy and pain, the contradictory side of the life. So since then I started drawing, because before that I was, during my London stay, I was exposed to different type of art. I seen Tracy Emin art and Louis Bourgeois, so different European artists also. So it was all imbibed in me, it sprouted in me, all the ideas. But when I came to India and I experienced in many ups and downs, so I expressed my happiness, or you can say my different emotion. I started drawing. Somebody actually advised me, whatever you're going through, you start drawing. So you can say this is 2005. So I became mother twice in my life, and both the experiences very, very different to each other. One is,
Can I ask you one? This drawing that we can see on the screen right now, it is from an earlier period.
yes.
It's from 2006, and it says "Growing Within,"
Yeah.
and also some other works from this. I think this is also one of the early works that you had shared with me. So
Yeah.
these, I think, in a way, was this around when your son was born? And
this is, yes. I delivered my first baby in 2004, and but I lost him so during my delivery. So that's 3 years. The deep desire of being a mother, like to be a mother, it is always inside me. This is very. Nobody could see the experience I went through. Even sometimes not even I experienced to Jagannath, because it's very personal. The pain and the pleasures are very, very personal. So I tried to release all my emotions through my drawing. You can see the mostly the drawings are actually partly used with the babies, right? So this is much later. This is 2017.
Right.
And so you see 2004, between 2004 and 7, so my drawings are red color or colorless.
Right. So
Mostly like a series of embryos, babies,
right. So this is
God. Yeah.
So if I may ask, so then this connection of the red stays right from the beginning, from this at least period of great pain and that you went through. And I think recently in an interview also you have mentioned that in the context of red as a thread that holds everything together for you. And we see also you using it even in your present context, or like this is a work from your present. The exhibition that you did last year. So
Yeah.
you do have the use of red as a metaphor or a color continuously coming through into your work. Could you elaborate on this a little bit?
Absolutely, yeah. Yes, the red means is energy for me. It's a represent the blood that flows all over the body, like the red thin river, right? The moment it stops flowing, and we'll be no more, right? And I have seen since my childhood this color, as my mother wear red sari, bindi, all over red, and she was like my role model. So I remember in my childhood, I wanted to become like her, like my mother. she's so beautiful and all over red, and you know the beauty. So, and the day I got married, uh, it became a part of my life strongly, because in Uriya marriage, so red, officially we introduced red color as sindoor and bangles. So, and I always carry either hints of red at the bindi or bangle. So that's red is
Have
actually.
you also been able to ever connect it art historically? I mean, not just contextually or socially, culturally, but also art historically. Have you found any resonances with other female artists that may have used this color? Do you find a resonance within that as well?
Yeah, the Masuma, that Japanese artist, so she used that polka dot she used, she
Mm-hmm.
mostly red, right? And I really love her work. So she's, we also talked about,
You mean Yayoi Kusama, right?
yeah.
Yeah, Yayoi
So,
Kusama.
there's many artists actually. So many artists they use red. Yeah, even Tracy means a few works also is very much red. Even Louis Bourgeois is
Right.
earlier drawing. If you see, a lot of her work is red in all her drawings, right?
Right.
So I get a lot of inspiration from them, and I get a lot of inspiration from many poets. And I talk about brain also, that you know I take reference from the 18th century, the scientist called Dr. Santiago Cajal. So
Mm-hmm.
he was a neuroscientist, but much later on he became an artist.
Right.
So I took a lot of, especially this work, I took a lot of references from him.
Right.
So,
So can you say that you're making the brain, but you're saying shades of sunrise? So that is something I found very interesting. How do you look at this particular work, and what does the role the title plays in this reading of
uh,
the brain?
you know, see, this is, I talk about my thought and my brain, how I think every morning. Yeah, I'm totally different. Like every sunrise, I'm totally different person. Sometime one day I'm very masculine. I feel like to do everything. One day I'm very feminine, right?
Right.
So it's like the different color of the sunrise.
Right.
And same time also you see that droppings, the thread is like new ideas, yeah,
Mm.
and you connect to the world. So the title called The Shades of Sunrise. So the, you know, you are up, you are early
Right.
morning, you are all set for new things and new ideas, and you are a new person.
Mm. So
And
also in the context of using threads and material like net and embroidery, and you have mentioned that your work is labor intensive and meditative, in the aspects that you use embroidery. It also you are remembering your mother while she was working, and then again in this way you also connect yourself to a number of female artists in history who have looked at embroidery or knitting or handworking as coming from a place of a womanhood, a place that is your own, a very personal space. So
absolutely.
can you talk a little bit about that as well?
Sorry, can you just repeat it again, please? Yeah.
Yeah, so I was saying that the use of embroidery and the materials that you use, how do you look at that, and what role does it play within your practice?
See, you know, stitching, I feel, you know, I remember my mother, she would stitch whenever she get free time, and she would stitch, right? But I later on I realized this stitching actually, you know, the repairing of the damage, right? Sometimes she felt lonely, and maybe it's forgiveness, stitching something, forgiveness, you forgive things, right? And a lot of you know, my Bangladeshi lady from Bangladesh, they help me in my work stitching. So I talk to them. So during they help to my work, and thus the narration happens between me and them. It's like connection. I feel there is no difference between me and them.
Hmm.
The way they talk about life, their the how they emotionally and physically tortured. And so it's directly, indirectly it comes to my work. The actually is talk about the part
So,
you can see the gender issues also. Yeah.
so in a way, it is a connection between you. It becomes a community connection via uh, embroidery that you use in your work, and it's a
Yeah, in a
when
way.
you are working in
In a way,
collaboration.
in a way, because but particular this work is the sense of absence is from my mother.
Mhm.
Is mostly the color reminds me her, and to connect her because I lost her many years back,
Right,
and every day actually she lives in me or I live in her. So
Hmm.
it works both ways. So this particular work is about her.
Right. So if we can come to Jagannath's practice now and maybe look through his works and talk a little bit about it. So these images are from the Crystal City, solo show that you had in 2017. My first question to Jagannath is that your work has always referenced art history alongside the real day-to-day occurrences. And there is a marked focus on the push and pull of opposites like rural, urban, private, public, inside, outside. So can you shed a light on how these dichotomies inform your practice?
Well, most of my artwork evolved during last 10, 20 years. What happened in 2003, I moved to Gurgaon. And since that day, I'll see there's a lot of changes happen in my work because uh, the kind of ideas I was thinking about the place, I never thought that I would come and live in Gurgaon. And there's a the work's been started with a sense of questioning, in the sense of questioning uh, the outer world and sense of questioning the inner world. So in that context, a lot of works have evolved last 10-20 years. So because it's the rapid urbanization, there's a lot of you can see that there's a lot of aspiration Gurgaon produced, but in the same time there's a lot of chaos. So it's not only in happening the sense, but also in a culturally, emotionally, physically. This whole changes have been happening. So being in London, my practice was completely different. Coming back, so I reconnect to my older practice, the way I used to paint or draw, even the ideas of using material and all. So if you see there was a sense of landscape, I've been looking at it, and there was a lot of hope and aspiration been continuously building around.
So this is
And
from your 2005 series when you start introducing a lot of birds and animals, and that
exactly. There's a sense of something. I feel there's a sense of absence, and there's a sense of desperation to get something. There's a race for getting something, but something losing. So here there's a nature. I wanted to create like a metaphor. The animal and the birds, that the way their absence, but also their presence in some way. They've been like almost like an actor, the way I use them in my work. And I enjoy creating this kind of a landscape to re-understanding self in the kind of city. And the most work been evolved around the way I looked at as like a witness to something, but also I'm a part of all this process.
Yes.
uh,
So can you also discuss a little bit about your use of the material? I mean, you have, of course, studied sculpture, and then you have been working across mediums and genres. And it's very interesting that you have, for many years now, used a lot of fabric, uh, especially fabric with motifs that mimic the flora and the fauna, which you anyways are working with in your paintings. So how do you use that material, and how did that start, and what is the story behind that?
See, since my early education from the BK College, we used to work with a different material, even working with craftsmen, working with you know the indigenous artists and all. Later, education in Baroda also, I explored a lot of materiality because that was a different time and all. I'll come back to it.
Mm-hmm.
So especially if you see that recent series of using a lot of fabric, it started 2001 or 2 when I was looking at the Kabir or deconstruction of the fabric, the way the fabric patterns are like you know creating almost like a second skin to and creating in a kind of identity as a human being.
Mm-hmm.
So the fabric became a very integral part. It started with a drawing, it begin with the tearing fabric and deconstruct the fabric itself and start using as a material for my drawing.
So
Later,
it's in a way we can say it becomes the metaphor or the proverb fabric of life. So you're bringing
exactly.
in fabric.
It's a many way because I love to build the layers of narration, bringing different time together. So if you see that the many way the fabrics almost like a collage pattern in a body, and those fabrics are resource from a different culture, different territory, different landscape. So it became almost like a collective self that I've been building through this, uh, as a bird or animal or human figure.
Right. Sometimes, I mean, I've heard you say call your process an alchemy. So what do you mean by that? Do you become the alchemist? You take many materials and you create a potion? Or what
No,
is?
because see, to look at the studio always became a laboratory, and see every time we look at the material, they tell the story. They talk about what we are or where we are going. It's talk about it's a time. So you bring that time and you can create an endless narrative out of it, and that is the possibilities always there and relooking, reimagining, in a place that been continuously feeding us uh, through TV or in ideas or ideology, something to we aspire and run for it.
So I also find it very interesting, in how both of you use fabrics, but in very different ways. So, in a sense that Pranati is using fabric as almost inner soliloquy, and you are using fabrics to create almost a science fiction outer space, structure. Because I remember when I visited your studio, you were creating this huge and beautiful painting, and you were talking about future cities, outer space. So that was an interesting conversation that we had. So how do you both look at this usage of fabric, which is, but the place that you come from is very different?
She is very independent on her way of approaching work, but my interpretation, what I would say, my using a material special in the fabric, I fossilize them. I almost like putting them into a time in a under the rock. You have to dig and understand through its essence. But when I look at her work, she make it alive. Her works are almost like it's a sprouting. You can see the life in the fabric or thread.
I am the person like I do. I see things and touch it and feel it, right? So it's like soft tissue or skin of the soft tissue. So then I feel, okay, this is my work. So, and I don't think I choose the fabric. Actually, fabric choose me. Okay, hey, come and just I am you part of your work. So
That's interesting to know. So tell me, did either of you before you came to study art have any introduction to art? I know about you, Jagannath, that your father was a former priest, and then he wanted you to become a teacher, but then he did support you as to study art. But what about you, Pranati? And how difficult was the journey to become artists? And did you ever lose hope that, give up completely at any
I
point?
don't think I have ever introduced art before I joined the art college. See, I remember I wanted to be a dancer, actually, Odissi dancer.
Oh.
And during my school days, so I joined dance institute, but it didn't happen. And my mother, as I said, my mother is a role model for me, and she only introduced me to the art college because obviously I was good in drawing in my college, and somehow she said, okay, I'm the adult child of my family. She said no, and she only actually she always wanted to be an artist, so I joined the art college for her. So she created my destiny. Uh, and yes, no, I don't think I never lost hope because Jagannath supports. So he's been a wonderful husband and he's been always supporting me. So I don't think, but definitely we both did very hard work to reach at this point. So like with little money, I came to Delhi to study my higher study, and it was a great struggle. We do feel actually proud for that. We did struggle, and but by God grace, everything went well. So.
Right.
So
Yeah, tell me.
my art career started with like almost in a pencil or few crayons, cupping, Chandamama, illustration, and enjoying it. Like, so the passion overtake all my struggle.
Chanda Mama seems to have been inspiration for many people. Prashanta still tells me, stories he remembers from Chanda Mama.
Bikram Betal stories and all that stuff. So that's create like fantasy and all that. So later on, I remember they used to group of image maker, idol maker used to visit close to our house. I indirectly learn. I started mimic the process of idol making. The process of first they go through a straw and then they put clays and all. So then I copy and not copy, like created something like that, but it never happened. But I remember my parents, they've always been supported what I did. But later my father insisted me to join art college, and then whole celebration and everything, struggle both simultaneously move on.
Yeah. Jagannatha, we'll discuss a little bit about your other great passion, which is just a second, which is Utsha, and a couple of projects. Maybe you can talk a little bit about Utsha. So I was very lucky to work with you on the Badbil Art Trail project, and which was a community-based project in the iron ore mine town of Badbil in Odisha. And then you did this amazing project called the BAT, or the Bhubaneswar Art Trail, last year in Bhubaneswar, which I think created this link between contemporary and traditional and cultural art forms. So can you talk a little bit about Utsha and what you do through Utsha, what you try to do?
See, I can say we established Utsav in 2011-12, and with the support of some artist friend. It's a very unique space, and it's a unique place because it is supported by artists, run by the artists, volunteers. And Bhubaneswar, as you know, a very unique space, a very modern and very open-minded space. So I always seen that the place has so much potential, and we miss something. Place like Usa, it can accommodate all kind of genre practice. Whenever I used to visit Bhubaneswar, there's a sense of connecting in this missing I always felt. So me and my friends have been discussing what we need, and everybody been talking about. So I thought it's better to start something so that it could give a new dimension to Bhubaneswar, also to the Indian art scene. So we have a very amazing program. It's been created by different artists, even myself. We come together. We are very open-minded, thinking about how new way, new approach where we can approach to the community and place and people, working with the government, working with the NGOs, be open to much more collaboration with artists, collaboration with other NGOs. So we've been almost like say 9, 10 years now. So we are very happy that we do wonderful work.
Right. Jagannatha, there are a couple of questions that have come in from the audience members, and I would like to read a few out. So one question is by Arpita Akhanda. I think she has worked with you in the Bhubaneswar Art Trail project. She asks to Jagannatha, you said you began re-looking at city from your experience when you came to Gurugram first. Later you settled there and became a part of the same city. What changed in you during these two poles of exploring self in a new experience and becoming part of that extended experience?
Yeah, my works are, that's why I told my works are layered. It's coming with several experience in a different, in there, and creating like a sense of moment in my work. So it has like, it has a memory, it has like a element from history or mythology or anywhere. So it has very collective space. I always love to create. Is that answer to her question?
Yeah, I think so in a way. There's another question, and this person, they have not written their name. They ask, is there any difference in your practice after your marriage and before? And how do you both collaborate when you get the time to discuss, and when do you get the time to discuss your practice?
Right. Well, the work process are changing every time, and before marriage works are different than the after marriage. Yes, obviously, and in the art we have I don't know, I can remember we done one small drawing together, but we are sharing studio with the, she has one floor she works, and in a different floor I works. So sometime we come together, we talk, we discuss, and we also share larger ideas. Also, we travel together with different country, different museum, and many ideas we share together. We are very open-minded to our own approach to our artworks,
So
and
do you work as sound?
we
Sorry.
inspire each other in a way.
So mostly he inspires me, and he's like my
But,
mentor.
but are you also sounding boards to each other's ideas? Do you run your ideas when you have something? Are you excited to share and get a feedback from each other?
Yes, yeah. When some ideas evolve or something, if something I work, then you talk to yourself, and you talk to somebody close to you. This always, it's a good thing if you start talking about your work during a process. So in a Gurgaon or in Delhi like situation, artists are very much busy in their work. We generally meet in a meeting or in an opening or something. It's a very, I don't know, maybe many artists must be visiting each other's studio, but I feel like, but in a way we communicate most of time. Most of the time we discuss, we share ideas, or we agree, disagree.
Right.
Many things.
So we are also putting this, broadcasting this live on Facebook, and Yashika Dang has asked on Facebook, what are you currently working on?
Well, it's in the lockdown. I'm at the home, but I've been I've been planning some project, but soon I'm going to come out. There's a lot of drawing and ideas are emerging out of it. So I might going to involve some community with this process. So we're going to come out some interesting ideas altogether.
Right. And what about you, Pranati?
Well, there's a lot of new ideas are there, so because I have to also see how I move on more further. And but I've been doing more like cleaning my house. And
Yeah.
I believe by cleaning,
But I believe
each corner of my house, and the lovely sparrows are all around my house. So I'm feeding them. It's such a actually, and I'm loving that part.
She created the both terrace or garden.
Yeah,
That's
for
right. Yeah.
So
We saw that when we came this
artwork,
time.
yeah, small
Yeah.
drawing we are exploring. So yes.
Right. So this is another question. This is from Ardhendu. He says, I personally know both of you, sir and ma'am, because I'm from Orissa. How do you both look at material and how do you get inspiration from each other?
I think I answered it, but
Yeah. But
you know, in terms of the material, we know that it's a kind of laboratory. I've been traveling or going anywhere. I feel something that attract me, or there's a sense of connection built up. I acquire. That became that became part of my studio, and when the conversation start, then the material manifest in a form or in an art object.
And each material is very different to other material, right? And it has its own character, own story. So as an artist, that's a challenge for you, how you to integrate to your work.
So this is a question, or rather two questions from Ananya Dattagupta for both of you. She asks, Pranati Panda, I could see a great deal of the mesh motif. Does that say something about how you look at life? And for Jagannath, your paintings look almost sculpted, like relief jutting out from the canvas. While you use cloth or canvas on your sculpture, there is a certain interchangeability for you between these two forms. Is that so?
No, for you, that how the mess became a part of
the jelly. You know that you see, I have used two different. It's soft and hard. The mess is very hard. It's like very masculine, right? And the soft part is the fabric. So it's all about light. It's like Ardhanarishwara, Shiva and Sakti. I can say if I'm giving the example. So that femininity and masculinity, how they together, when they're together, how beautiful it is. So, and that's the brain, right? That's a thought, that's the idea. So also,
mesh is not like a veil or a something that you're looking from behind. That is not how you look at it, right?
Sorry.
So mesh here is not like a veil or a curtain or a.
No, it's not exactly. Yeah, see, everything is very well connected. You can't keep it separate, right? So
how the mesh been working as a like a support to the fabric.
Fabric. So that's what I said. It's like mesh. The jali part is very strong, hard material, right? And it's very masculine, right? And it is supported by the softness. The two things are actually I'm trying to merge and to make a one thing, right? So it's femininity and masculinity, how they work together.
I want to tell here what happened during because she had many ideas during her exhibition last time, but a lot of ideas are there's a lot of technicality to execute those ideas. So basically, even the video piece you thought about the 12 channel video piece, but it could technically we could manage only 2. But here the sculpture she was imagining and the imagining and the material she constantly collecting the material. I enjoyed because I'm a sculptor, so I also see that there's a because we've been sharing the same sculpture studio is in our basement. When she visited, and looking at the material and all those stuff. Yeah, of course, there was a
I
connection being
used
built.
to use, soft jali, like mosquito net. So first time I used a very strong net. So that,
It's also part of a process where you're also learning about the material.
yeah.
So Jagannatha, what she asks you is like, is there's an interchangeability for you between painting and sculpture?
See,
Because
basically, the beginning of my painting, someone say, Jagannath, don't paint, but it's sculpted in a canvas. So basically, what happened? Uh, uh, I'm not like a I never studied painting in a school or college. So I learned by doing thing. So basically, my early education in a sculpture, I always enjoy the form and the shape that create a very important role in my painting. So basically, when I started using the fabric as a material, so that the sculptural the formness is always been appear in my painting. So I enjoy because I approach in a two way. One very painterly surface, and one is like almost like a very sculptural kind of form. I enjoy, and there's a kind of conversation I built within two.
right. So we are running out of time. We have just one question I will ask you, and then one final question from a viewer, and then we unfortunately have to end. So I just wanted to, this is a question that I'm trying to ask all the speakers, that if you were to give one key piece of advice to the young artists out there right now, stuck at home, what would it be?
I say, particularly for young artists, be true to yourself and build a deeper connection with your art practice and believe in you. And then leave everything. So that's the very, for me, yeah.
What about you, Jagannath?
But this is very strange time. We all are artists living, and we all know that art and artists have gone through a lot of difficult time in the history and in many way. Anyway, art never going to vanish. It's always become stronger and stronger. But this is a time that because we are at the home, it's always interesting to learn a new skill, and we should be more caring about each other and more respectful with each other, and see that we are not hurry because there's a time has passed. We are much more. We have a lot of time, so it's not only artists anyway. Even me myself, I talk to myself. There's a much more sincerity we should bring towards our practice, so that we can see ourselves much clearer. I think that way we can address to our spirit better.
Thank you. So one last question. This is from Bilash Sardar. He says, hello, Jagannatha, Bilash here. I want to ask your views on the upcoming days of art practice. The newly emerged situation has changed a lot.
Can you bring your microphone close to yourself?
Okay. Hello. This is Bilash Sardar. He says, hello, Jagannatha, Bilash here. And he actually wants to know how this new situation, which has changed our notions and our surroundings. And do you think the platform of displaying art will get affected? And what can be the possibilities in this situation?
I'm also wondering how the possibilities that anyway, the human energy is such a way that we will find the solution, and art always been regarded as a very personal way of looking at it and experience it, because it has its quality. So this time will be definitely it's going to over, and we will come back to normalcy, and but this time, as because this is what I believe in, it's like a collective karma that we all going through, and there's a lot of positivity other way we can see. There's a chaos, but also positivity, see the natures are changing. So I think this time at the home going to bring lot of new ideas and we are all going to come out more stronger and much more positive. So that way, art also going to change.
Thank you so much. And unfortunately, we have run out of time.
Can I ask one question? This
Oh,
is come from Hina Pari, and this says, "Hello Pranati and Jagannath and Ushmita. Lovely being a part of this talk and seeing the pictures of both of your works. As an artist couple, how do you go through life and everyday challenges of taking care at home, children, and giving enough time to each of your practice?" I think, Ushmita, all three of you all should answer this.
So I think Hina and I have discussed this once in Bangalore when she asked this. I think right now it would be Jagannath and Pranati because they are here. They should tell their part.
That she's a homemaker. I think
No, I think
she look after the whole, everything.
No,
She's
I
such
think,
a
I think it's a beautiful smile makes everything perfect. So
she look after everything well, and I give up. Basically, in a way, she makes me a little bit lazy. When I look at around, she look after everything herself. And
no, then
three
you
of the
feel
balcony.
bossy. Then you feel bossy,
She's a
right?
bit bossy. Home she's bossy.
But it is a struggle, isn't it? I mean, for professionals like us who are also artists or curators or writers, and you also have responsibilities of working from home. Like for instance, for the past few days when I've been working towards this, Prashanto and Reza, our son, they have taken over and they are taking care of everything. So I can put my mind. I think in that sense, it's a collaboration, and without support, you really can't do things.
See, I always
and this is the life, I believe. It's not like all the time you are in smoothness, right?
It's nice to come back our cleaning and all that. So I told her, like, all dishes I need to, I wanted to clean. So just give me this much work. So
Wonderful.
Thank you so much. And I thank Richa and Pranati and Jagannath and all the back-end team, Imami team. And tomorrow we will meet everybody again, same time, 4 o'clock. Tomorrow our conversation will be with Pooja and G.R.A. Ranna. And please don't forget to register. Thank you to all the audience members. Richa, would you like to say something before we sign off?
Thank you so much. I'm just so thrilled to see such a wonderful couple who complete each other and completely complement each other. It's really inspiring for a lot of us to see how you all manage your day, how you organize yourselves, and still can come out with such beautiful and complete colors for everyone else to understand and take hold. So thank you for being a part of Imami Art, Ushmita, and thank you for the wonderful creation. I cannot finish without thanking my team, which is doing a fabulous job back end. Thank you so much. See you all tomorrow.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye.
পরে কথা হব, মু ফোন করিনি।
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.